See. Hello, hello. Welcome in. Come on in. If you are new here, welcome. As always, we give everyone about 5 minutes to get on before I hop into the lesson. But while you're in and in the waiting room for everyone else to join, make sure you drop in the comments where you are located so that we can know who we have in the building this evening. Welcome on in. Welcome on in. Like I said, we give everyone 5 minutes to get on. But while we wait, make sure that you drop where you're located in the chat, okay? Tonight's topic is why NEMT businesses fail in 90 days, which is really, really important because we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that this is a long sustaining business. So in order to do that, we have to know what is important in the first 3 months of your business. So drop in the chat where you are located from so that we can make sure that we're sharing information that is pertinent to you. Again, I don't know everything, but I do have a good solid network. So if there's something that I don't know and you're in a location that I know someone is at, I'm going to make sure that you're connected with that person, okay? So make sure you drop in the chat where you are located. We took a break off last week from the live streams. So this week, I want to make sure that whatever questions that you all have had over the past few weeks that have not gotten answered, make sure you drop those in the chat because you never know who has the same question as you. And I know on Facebook you all can see the other screens, but the reason why I'm looking around like this is because I have 3 screens going right now. So I want to make sure that everyone feels included, not just giving my attention to one screen. So make sure, again, as I mentioned, drop down where you are located, okay? Hey, Mary. Got Mary here from Maryland. Ellie, where are you located? Oh, I'm sorry, L. Oh, is that Latrice? Okay, Latrice. Okay, we got about 2 more minutes and then we're going to go ahead and get started, okay? About 2 more minutes. As I said, we like to give everyone 5 minutes to get on before we get jumping into the live, into the content. And so if you have any questions that you know over the past few weeks that have not been answered in the live, make sure you drop those in the chat, okay? I tell y'all one thing, I can't wait for some dinner tonight. Ooh, Lord, yes, I went to the gym and I am hungry. So we're going to make it a good one, but make sure you all drop your questions in the chat so we can get through it, okay? Got a few more seconds and then we'll go ahead and get going. Yes, indeed. Like I said, this is important. This is important because in the beginning, it can be very frustrating. So you want to make sure that you have the tools and the resources that you need to make some money in the first 90 days. Okay. All right. So it's 7:05. We're going to go ahead and get started. As always, I am that NEMT girl. Thank you all for joining in. If you are not subscribed on YouTube, please make sure you hit that button But TikTok and Facebook, if you're not in the group or if you're not following, please make sure you do so at this time. It really makes a difference. Also, if you are on Instagram and you follow me on Instagram, please make sure, or you don't follow me on Instagram, I'm sorry, please make sure you hit that follow button because I have to get my numbers up over there so I can go live on Instagram. Right now, I'm not able to go live on Instagram, but we are here on TikTok, YouTube, and on Facebook, okay? All right. So, first things first, why do I focus so much emphasis on the back end? Well, the reason for that is because that's the reason why a lot of things don't pan out smoothly with your NEMT businesses. The calls start coming, the clients, they're frustrated, and that trickles down to your frustration and ultimately your team. I did a video today. It's not up yet on YouTube, but I did an interview today with the COO of MediRoutes. And that was one of the things that we talked about. You know, everyone wants to get trips and everyone wants to have volume, but are you set up to execute the right way? And again, it's never going to be perfect, right? But do you have the foundational structure that you need to get out there and actually make some money? And so in the first 90 days, I emphasize that because many of you here are going to the brokers, right? We love the brokers, we do. But you all have to understand it takes time to get credentialed with the brokers. So it's going to take you anywhere between 2 to 3 months before you are credentialed. Some of you are in states where you can pay or you can charge insurance directly. Unfortunately, in Georgia, we can't do that here. But some of you all are in states where you can do that. And that process as well takes 2 to 3 months before you're credentialed through your state. So that's why that timeline is given of that 90 days. In the beginning, you're going to be frustrated because it's going to be slow. You have to build that volume up. And so that's what we're going to talk about tonight. Okay. So first things first. And I have 5 things of why businesses fail in the first 90 days. They're not in any particular order. So don't take heed to that. Just listen to the message. Okay. So first things first is budget. Budget is the first thing. Why do I talk about budget? Because you do not really understand the numbers. If you don't understand your numbers, you're not going to be able to be profitable. Okay. So you have to know how much money do you have out the gate to make this business start, to make this business run. Okay. How much money do you have? And you have to be realistic with yourself. And I'm not saying just how much money do you have. How much money do you have to make this business run without you making much of anything but 2 to 3 months? You have to be realistic with yourself. And why do I say make a bunch of anything? Because you have to wait for the credentialing process before you are approved. So, how much money do you realistically have to stay afloat for 2 to 3 months without income coming in? I can't tell you that. You know your situation, you know your goals, and you know what you realistically can afford coming out the gate. I can't tell you that, but you have to give yourself a true assessment and be honest with yourself. Don't think about the money that, oh, I might have this, I might have. No, if you can't touch that money, if it's not tangible, you don't have it. Okay. All right. Move on from budget. I'm not gonna be the dead horse. But in the 2 to 3 months of you waiting for approval, there is something that you can do, and that is market for private pay. And what do I mean by that? Well, if I can't get approved with the brokers just yet, how can I do private pay? Broker is broker, private pay is private pay. It's the name is what the name is for a reason. It's private pay. It is business to business relationship. So you are going direct to the facility. You are getting a contract with that facility, and you are meeting the demands of that facility. You're going to have that commercial insurance anyway because you have to have it in order to go through the credentialing process. So you're paying for that insurance for the 2 to 3 months that you're going to be going through credentialing process. So why are you waiting and not being active and getting out in the community to actually sell your business while you're paying those bills? because you never know who may need a ride home from a hospital discharge. You never know who is tired of waiting on their transportation service they currently use right now and is looking for a new company. You never know what facility has just gotten rid of their transportation vendor and needs a new vendor. So what if you only have one vehicle? So what if it's just you? You have that time to go out there and market for a reason because you're sitting there waiting for your approvals and your credentials to go through. So my question to you is, while you're in the waiting room, what else are you doing to promote your business? Yes, I'll go back to it. The brokers are great. We love the brokers, right? They send you trips. You don't have to go out and do marketing for it. You can have a steady volume if it's a good broker in your area, you know. And so why? But that's not the brokers are not the only people that know where NEMT clients are. Also, I need you all to think outside the box when it comes to where you're finding your clients at. Okay? Because everybody needs transportation. Everybody needs transportation. And when I say that, I truly mean everybody. When you think about charter schools, you all do know there are students that are in wheelchairs, right? How are they getting to school? A charter school, traditionally, the parents are responsible for finding transportation for their students, for their child. So how are those students getting to school? Which area that is nearby you that is not as oversaturated as the main city? I know here in Atlanta, when we go out to the outskirts, oh, we are getting called left and right. Why? Because it's rural. There is not as much competition in those areas that you have in the city. So you have to get creative in your approach. And you can't be lazy. You can't be lazy. You have to have tough skin because you're going to get way more no's before you get that yes. And all it takes is one yes. All it takes is one yes with the facility that has the volume and the consistency that you need to make that money. That's it. All you need is one. But the problem is when it comes to private pay marketing and going after the brokers, you all get lazy because the brokers are just sending you work, sending you work, sending you work. You're burning yourself out by running a rat race because you're working in your business too much and you're not able to work on your business so that you can go out here and have the energy to just talk to people, to get out there and have conversation and just talk to people about who you are, what your business provides, what services you provide, and what problems that you solve. So not only are we looking at the budget, we're looking at where the clients coming from. You don't have any clients. Okay? All right. Next reason. And again, this is not in any particular order. So, but the next reason is cash flow. You don't have any money coming in to pay the bills. You did not check your budget. And so now you don't have any clients because you haven't been getting out there, or you're running in your business too much and not being able to work on your business. And you look up, you don't have any cash flow. You don't have the cash flow that you need because the clients are not coming in. And you didn't plan for the budget. You just went out there and bought. And now you're frustrated because you have these bills coming in and no clientele. So you have to figure out, okay, again, realistically, how much money do I have to work with my business right now? Okay. Once you know those numbers, stick to that budget. Do not run away from that budget. And if you look at your budget and you see it's not enough, wait. Do not rush. Wait. Because this is going to be the most important thing, one of the most important things that you invest your money in your lifetime. So why rush it? I always say, this is your baby. You don't rush through delivering labor. Men, I know that you all don't know what labor is like, okay? But I pray that you were able to witness it if you have children, or, you have heard the stories from the women in your family. But you don't rush through labor, okay? So you do not rush the creation of your baby, aka your business. Okay. Next one. You have a lack of staff. You said you were going to start this business and you were going to drive and you were going to, also manage it. In the beginning, depending on your volume, what your structure is, or your game plan is for your business, it may be doable for you to start off that way. But once the clientele builds up, I go back to this before, when you're answering the calls, you don't want them to hear you driving in the vehicle. But again, going back to the first one, it always goes back to budget. Did you plan properly for your staff? Did you plan out a timeline of when you were going to bring on that first driver, when you were going to bring on that dispatcher, and how much were you able to really pay them? Did you work those numbers out in a realistic way? And 9 times out of 10, the answer is no, you didn't. Which is why in the first 90 days, you're frustrated. And that's not fair. It's not fair to yourself. It's not fair to your time. It's not fair to those that you have talked about this business to, and they are believing in you and rooting for you to do well. It's not fair to anyone across the board. So you have to really slow down and be honest with yourself on what your budget can take in terms of payroll. Because in the beginning, you're not making that much money. And also, you may not even have the volume to have a full days of work for that individual. So, with that being said, you have to be able to. Sorry, you all, I gotta throw the iPad on the charger. You have to be able to understand what that person's role is going to look like in the beginning. Is it going to be a friend? Is it going to be a family member? Is it going to be you? Because you may have 2 or 3 trips for that day, but they could be so spread out. You may have first pickup at 6 a.m. You may not have another one until 12 noon. You may have another one at 3 in the afternoon. Can you afford to pay a person that entire day for just 3 trips? Because what types of trips are these? Are they ambulatory trips? Are they wheelchair trips? What types of trips are these? Okay. So you have to be honest with yourself about your staff and what your game plan is coming out the gate to manage the trips, but also manage the business and the operations for day to day. Okay. Okay. Next. So I talked about the clients. I talked about your staff. I talked about your cash flow. I talked about your budget. Systems. Systems and structure. How does all of this roll out? What does this look like? If I had to come and step into your business for the day because you were sick and I had to come and fill in for you, would I know what to do? If you had a substitute, take it back to school. If you had a substitute teacher, a substitute operations manager come into your business for that day, would that person know what to do from top to bottom? If the answer is no, then you have some work to do. Because it should be that easy for you to pass on the books on what is going on in your business for someone else to overview that. Everything should be written. And also, I want you all to think about this. What does your business look like? What is your end goal for your business? What is the succession plan for your business? Meaning, are you going to pass it down to someone in your family? Are you going to sell it? Or are you going to try to run it forever? If it's either A or B, sell it or pass it down to someone in your family, they're going to have structure and instructions to know how to operate the business. And so if you do not have these things in place, if you do not have those things written down, then you're short. You're short. If everything that you do for your business lives up here, it's a side hustle. It's not a business, it's a side hustle. And I hate to sound harsh when I say that, but it's a side hustle. You have to have things written down. Someone should be able to come into your business and know what to do if they have to fill in for you. Does it take time? Yeah. But is it worth it? Absolutely. Absolutely. Your business should run the same way every day. And whatever area of your business that's giving you the most stress, whichever area that, is causing you the most headache, that's the area that needs the most attention. And I'll be honest, right now in this season where my business is, our biggest gripe is maintenance. We are going through maintenance. The first quarter has been boom, boom, boom. We had two vans, a transmission went down in each, and an engine went down in one. So when we talk about frustration and systems, our system may be a little weak right there. Is there room for improvement? Absolutely. But am I going to sit there and be frustrated about it? Yeah, maybe for a couple days. It's something to be frustrated about. But am I going to wallow in it? No, because that is not going to fix the problem. I know, okay, what do we need now? We need extended warranties on the engine and transmissions. We had to go to a transmission shop versus going to our regular mechanic, because if there's a computer on the transmission that our regular mechanic is not really well versed in fixing, which took more what? Time. Which means we were away from that van longer, which means we missed out on money. So I don't tell y'all these things just to tell y'all these things. I tell y'all these things because these are real life scenarios that happen to my business, that happen with my team, that I've had to bounce back from. So, and again, a lot of people, I have people that I work with, people that I mentee all the time, that you all have a plan in your head of how you want things to go. And I can tell you all day, every day, the advice that is a known and lived experience, but you're still gonna do it your way. And that's okay. That's okay, because sometimes mistakes are our biggest lessons, right? And that's the best way that some of us learn. So even if you do make that mistake, don't beat yourself up about it and consider it a failing point where you want to stop. The first 90 days of your business are the first precious days of your business. And you can't get into the rat race or let fatigue burn you out so soon. Because if that's the case, you shouldn't have started in the first place. I hate to say it, but you didn't even give yourself a chance if you're willing to quit in the first 90 days. That's too soon. That's not enough time. That's not enough time. It's not. It's not. So you want to make sure your budget is in order. And again, the main thing with the budget is not the van, it's the insurance. Do you have enough money to cover that insurance for the 2 to 3 months that it's going to take until you are approved with the broker or with your state? Do you have the money? And again, be honest with yourself. Do not sugarcoat yourself. If you have to lie to yourself, that's a problem. Okay, so be honest with yourself about how much money you have, because you have to build up your clients. Private pay is going to be the only way that you make some money in the interim of you waiting for approval and credentialing. That's going to be the only way. Okay. So make sure and run the numbers. Don't just get a quote from one insurance company. Run the numbers with multiple companies to see where do you get the best deal. It takes some time. It takes a couple of days when you get a quote for commercial insurance because you have to go through underwriting. Underwriting has to do their due diligence. But that's okay. Again, what is the rush? Okay. So make sure you get multiple quotes. That way you can weigh your options on what you have and what you're working with. Okay. And again, I want to reiterate your private pay is going to be where you need to go because you're not going to have clients coming from the brokers or the state during this time. And so, again, think outside of the box. They're not just senior citizens. We have students, we have rehab clinics, we have overnight hospital discharges. And you may have to adjust your flexibility with your hours while you're out there trying to build up your private pay because you're trying to sell yourself. You're being competitive. You're the newcomer on the block in the NEMT world in your community. So, how are you going to stand out? And I will say this is probably one of the best times that you have to market for private pay. Because once you do start getting the clients from the brokers or the state, you're going to be busier and you're not going to have that time without that structure to go out and market the way you need to for your business. Many of you are not coming out the gate with a full staff to allow you to not be behind the wheel or to allow you to work on the computer. So in the first 90 days, while you're waiting on that approval and things are still a bit slow, that's the best time to really hit the ground running with private pay marketing. Again, you can't get lazy. You cannot get lazy and you cannot get discouraged by a few no's. You can get a lot of no's. You have a lot of no's, but you have to, the good is going to outweigh that bad and be diligent. Talk to the property managers. Talk to the executive director. You don't want to go in there talking to the admin assistant. You don't. If you can get the attention of someone on the phone or an email before you hit the pavement, that's even better. But you will have to hit the pavement first starting out. You don't have it in your budget. That money needs to go to the commercial insurance or payroll or gas. If you're financing the van, to your car note. So yes, you're going to have to do a lot of the legwork in the beginning. And that's okay. That's okay. The next one was your staff and your staff. The next one's actually cash flow. So making sure that you have the clientele of private pay to give you something with cash flow. Making sure that you have a solid budget, not just something that you made up, but having a solid budget on how much you can afford for 2 to 3 months without real income coming in. That's how long it's going to take. And for some states, it's longer. I was just talking to someone on Facebook from Nevada, and their transportation authority can go from anywhere from 6 months to 12 months for approval. I couldn't imagine. So I'm pretty sure with them, it's a slow walk for private pay. I haven't worked with someone one-on-one in Nevada just yet. So I'm not all the way familiar with that process. But we were talking about it, and that was one of the things that she shined light on. And I, again, could not imagine. So the cash flow. Next was the staff or staff management. And then lastly, structuring your systems. Also, I just had a video on YouTube drop with James, who is the COO of Duet, which is another software that handles routing, billing, trip optimization. I'm doing these interviews with these people so that you all can get a taste of what their software is like. And you all can make the assessment on your own if you want to set up a demo. But you need something. Okay? You need some type of software. Because when you start to grow and you start to get audited, you have to be in compliance. And the way this industry is going over the next 5 years, technology is not going to be a negotiable component to your business structure. You're going to have a technology piece. So whatever structure or systems that you're implementing into your business, it all has to have a flow. And if not, then that's where the structure and the system already comes into play of being a failure. In the first 90 days of starting this business is your most vulnerable. You're excited, you are driven, you're motivated to get out there. But the more no's you get and the more questions that you're getting that you can't answer because you don't have the structure, the systems for, the more frustrated you're going to be. So within the first 90 days, those are the reasons why. Some of the reasons, because there are some more. But those are some of the reasons that I wanted to touch on this evening in terms of why NEMT businesses fail within the first 90 days. As you all know, I always open up the floor around this time for any questions. I do believe I know you all, if you've been here over the past few weeks, then you know I've had some issues with the live comments on Facebook, but I do believe I have fixed it. So I'm going to open up the floor to any of the questions. I know there's been some chatter on TikTok. Let me scroll up for a bit and see. Go all the way up. Sorry, y'all. Okay. All right. Y'all haven't been asking so many questions tonight. Doesn't look like. I don't see. Let me see. I have a new message. No. Okay. What's going on, y'all? Y'all not chatting tonight. I see the. I see. Oh, someone was asking something. Y'all, please don't get in here with this spam stuff, talking about paying somebody's rent. Please don't do that. We don't do scams. We don't do that. Please don't do that. I will block you. Okay. All right. So the next, I know I have, let me see. I haven't made the flyer yet for you all to post it, but I have a few more lined up for this month. Let me see. So we got the 19th and the 26th. I'm going live on the 19th and the 26th. And I think for the 19th, one of those two, I'm not sure. One of those two is going to be open format. So we'll do an open question and answer format on one of those two. So you all can just flood with the questions that you all have. I do know I mentioned to you all last time, but it's been a week. It took a week off. But the new site will be up this month. Okay. And when it does release, I will let you all know so that you all can check it out. In the meantime, you can still check out my current website that is up, www.thenemtgirl.com. Also, again, if you're not subscribed here on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. TikTok and Facebook, join the group on Facebook, and also on TikTok, make sure that you hit the follow button, okay? If you all have any questions, you all can always DM me. You all know I'm always responding to you all, so make sure you hit my DMs up. There's a person, and I've been seeing them in a Facebook group that is doing some impersonations on my coaching. I'm not liking it. I've been calling it out. The name is Taya Anderson. For those of you all who are on Facebook in the group that you all have seen. So please continue to call that page out as much as you can because that's not a real person. And the other coaches that are in the NEMT space, we've been calling it out as much as possible. So if you all can do that for us, for me, then I truly appreciate that. In the meantime, in between time, you all, I will see y'all next week. Same time, same place on TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. All right. Y'all have a good one. Bye.